Welcome back to our coverage of a fierce wildfire in the North County. Right now, it is reported to have burned about 50 homes so far. We're not sure of the exact number, and fire officials say that the fire is into a more populated area in Shasta and Carlsbad.
Right now, more than 50 homes now in the Carlsbad area, some 2,400 acres, and that doesn't include the acreage that was destroyed earlier today as the fire started east of this area. So it's just a nightmare. But we go right now to Andrea Cochran. She has been hovering above it all, Scott 10, and my goodness, the flames look ferocious.
That's right, Carol. We're in the northeastern corner of this fire, and we've made this pass several times. In fact, the last time we passed through here, it looked like the flames were actually starting to die down. And as we were making our way up, Kyle pointed out, look, they picked up again, and they certainly have. And, you know, the winds here are fierce tonight to deal with, and the firefighters are doing their best to try and control it. You can't see this, but I'm going to describe to you what I see out of the corner of our windshield here in Sky 10, and that is another fire burning northeast of Escondido and Valley Center and the Rincon area, which could be just as devastating as this fire. So we've got fire crews, you know, spent to a maximum here tonight. Over 5,000 acres is what I've heard has burned so far in this general vicinity. Homes in San Marcos are being threatened. We've used Palomar Airport to lift off to refuel, and it looks like the flames could possibly take Palomar Airport, you know, depending on which direction this goes and how the winds work tonight. I mean, it's dark. The ground is just charred black. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what this looks like when the sun comes up. Carol, Kim, back to you.
All right, Andrea, thank you for bringing us up to date on that fire situation for us.
We also have Herb Cawthorn at one of the 3 evacuation centers tonight. We find him at the San Dieguito Academy. Herb.
Well, Carol and Kimberly, we are at San Dieguito, where the Red Cross has set up a shelter for people who have been evacuated from their homes. In some cases, people who have lost their homes. It's a sad situation, but you know the best in people comes out when they're faced with this kind of tragedy. Volunteers have been here bringing blankets all night, and people of good will have been coming down to try to help out the best they can. And the spirit of the people who have lost everything is just amazing to be around, to see what people draw on when they're in this kind of difficulty. Some people don't know where their loved ones are, they don't know where their children are, and the Red Cross is working diligently to try to help them find their families. Ron and Eileen Maisel, tell me the situation with your home, Ron.
Well, I got home a little after 6, and I saw the fire burning on the other side of El Forte, and I started knocking on my neighbors' doors. I have some elderly neighbors, and I didn't realize how close the fire was, and we watched the fire for a while, and all of a sudden it just accelerated towards us, and the canyon right behind us caught on fire. My wife was packing some stuff just in case, and I ran up to check on the fire, and I could feel the heat from it. I decided it was a good time to get out now, and made sure all of our neighbors got out, and we got our dog, and we probably lost a horse in Elfin Forest, my wife's horse of 20 years. But we got our dog out, and the house, and the rest of the stuff is just stuff that's replaceable.
And I mean, this is just tough, isn't it?
I was all the way over in Fallbrook, and I looked and saw the flames, and I was trying to get the radio station to get some information. I finally just got in the car and started driving home. It took me about 20 minutes to get to San Marcos, and I found out the fire was on Elfin Forest. My horse is there. There were so many friends of mine there, and I couldn't get down Elfin Forest Road. They had the road closed. They were just letting people come out. So I raced back to my house, and I was with my neighbor behind me, and we were watching the fire come towards the canyon. And that's when I started running around to the neighbors, banging on doors and saying, look, I think we're going to have to get out of here.
And so you're looking out for your neighbor as people are trying to look out for you. We wish you the very, very best. And I just want to go to one other person here. This is Camille Armstrong. Camille, it's terrible for you, isn't it?
Well, I've lost everything. I didn't have insurance. I rented at Sea Point, and I'm a musician. I lost all my equipment and everything I have. My car was in the garage, and it doesn't have insurance. It burned up. I'm really have nothing at this point.
And I want to hear some more about your story because there's some things that she's told us that you really would want to hear. I mean, we're at the San Diego shelter where the Red Cross has set up an effort. As we said, you can call them at 291-2620 and dial extension 601. They need food, they need blankets, they need water. If you want to help, you can bring it right down here to San Diego High School. Now back to you in the studio there, Kimberly and Carol.
Herb, we always see these wonderful stories of people helping, but it also seems like the spirit is really up for these people that have been, victimized by this.
You're absolutely right. You would think that if people lost their homes, lost their possessions, lost things so important to them, that they would be just down and dejected in a way that that it's hard to imagine for us when it didn't happen to us. But the spirit that comes out, the human spirit, the human condition, the positive side, the side that says we're alive, we're happy to be alive, and at least we have each other. That's what people are saying to each other in this shelter, and they're very pleased with all the volunteers who have come out to help them as well.
That's a wonderful example. Thank you, Herb.
Thanks, Herb. Meantime, school officials in San Marcos are starting to make some plans for tomorrow. On the line with us now is Larry Maw, who's the superintendent of the San Marcos School District. Larry, can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can.
Larry, what are you planning for tomorrow?
Well, I'm right here at the high school right now, and the sheriff department has a command post here and an evacuation center. And they will be here all day tomorrow. So we are going to be closing San Marcos High School tomorrow, so there will be no classes held. In addition, we have a La Costa Meadows Elementary School in the La Costa area, and because of the road blockage, the debris over there, the danger of the fire, and the burning of several homes, we are not going to open La Costa Meadows Elementary School tomorrow.
Hey, Larry, from where you are, is it possible for you to see if there's any kind of a traffic situation arising as more and more people start to try to make it down to that high school?
You know, I came down San Marcos Boulevard about a half an hour ago, and the traffic was very light. People are pretty well staying away.
Good.
All right, Larry, so that's the plan for tomorrow, and are you just going to be day to day from that point?
Yes, we will.
All right, sir. Well, let's hope the situation doesn't warrant too much more in the way of closure.
Okay.
All right, well, we're talking about more than 50 homes that have been destroyed in the Carlsbad-La Costa area. Thousands of acres have been destroyed. Starting at the Elfin forest area and working its way, the fire worked its way west all afternoon and into the evening, and it's grown to devastating proportions.
We haven't talked about much tonight in the way of injuries, thank goodness, but we do have a report that one man is reported hospitalized with burns over 45% of his body. So, we pray for him tonight, and hopefully there will not be any more injuries as this fire progresses. Meantime, we have Ed Lenderman right now in La Costa with more for us. Ed?
Well, you were talking a moment ago about we haven't heard too much about injuries, and I can confirm that for you. I just got back from the command post, which is not too far from here. They keep moving the command post. It's what happened all afternoon. I mean, we literally were being caught by the flames, and we had to keep moving ourselves as well as the command post. There was we know of only one victim so far. He's still alive. A man was caught in his vehicle, actually, and was burned very, very severely over in the Harmony Grove area. I think you're looking at tape of that right now. This fellow being transported. He was burned over 45% of his body. I paused there for a moment. Leonard had just gotten that information about over 45% of his body. The people at the command post told me that he was in his vehicle when the fire caught him and was burned very, very severely. I don't know the extent of his condition tonight, and we don't have an identification on him. I mentioned, and this is fortunate, no fatalities so far, and we know of no other injuries. I asked one of the fellows over at the command post, what about the firefighters? These fellows have been on the line. The smoke and flames have been incredible. As we come back here to take a look at the rubble of this home that's burning here on Cadencia in La Costa, so far so good in terms of the firefighters. They are obviously exhausted. Obviously everybody is breathing a great deal of smoke, but so far we don't have anybody with smoke inhalation or heart problems or the kinds of things that you get when you're in these kinds of conditions and you're in a lot of heavy gear, et cetera, for the firefighters. We were talking earlier about how many homes have been lost. We were trying to confirm that. It's very, very difficult to confirm it, but the statistics that you are giving here, Carol and Kimberly, seem to be correct. As many as 50. I can confirm this, 12 to 13 confirmed, but we know it's a lot more than that. There are a lot more than that just on this street alone. It's more like 50. There are 30 here in the La Costa area, not only on Cadencia, but a street called Peruga and a street called El Fuerte. Apparently what happened was that the fire jumped. Those of you in the North County will be familiar with Box Canyon. So not only did homes on Peruga and Cadencia burn, but when the fire jumped Box Canyon, I'm told that El Fuerte was affected as well. We're going to go back to Carol and Kimberly right now. I know, just want to let you, the producers know back there, that Leonard has some people here that were involved in trying to keep their home together, and were successful about it. Do we want to go ahead and do that now, or would you like to just go back to the studio?
We could just check with producer on that. What do you say, Curtis? Are we in the opportunity?
As long as we're in a live situation, we might as well ask. Do you want to come back and do that later?
He says to give us a minute, and we'll be right back to you. The reason why is that we have a gentleman on hold from SDG&E that's going to talk to us a little bit about the power outages that's really affecting the North County right now. We have Ed Struble on the line. Ed, what can you tell us about that situation?
Well, we don't have any estimates at the moment on how many people are out due specifically to the fire. Of course, we've had outages all day long due to the Santa Ana winds, but because the fire is still burning, we have crews on standby, both gas and electric crews, waiting for the fire department to give us clearance to go into the area. And until that occurs, we don't have any good estimates on how many people are out or when power might be restored in that area.
Now, when fire does take out a power pole or a power line, a power station, how does that immediately affect the area?
Well, again, it depends on whether it's a pole or a station. If it's a substation, for example, then many more customers are affected. If it's a pole, sometimes it's just as few as 4 homes. And, of course, our crews go in as quickly as they can to restore. We can also divert power from one circuit to another sometimes to get people back on sooner. But it depends. If there's fire damage, then that takes longer for the crews to repair that kind of damage.
Okay, any kind of public information you'd like to get out tonight on what people should or shouldn't do?
Well, again, they need to follow the directions that the fire department is offering. The fire department is obviously in charge of the situation now, that and the police department. And any downed wires they need to avoid. They need to alert authorities to anything like that. Otherwise, just safety first.
Ed Struble from SDG&E, we appreciate you bringing us up to date on that situation. Obviously, power outages throughout the North County that SDG&E is keeping an eye on. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
When you're hungry, experts say to eat your food more slowly. Hey, why not just have more food? Hearty portions from Stouffer's Lean Cuisine. The great taste of lean cuisine.
A few minutes ago, maybe there's some new information out there for the firefighters. What are they looking at?
Yeah, they heard pretty much the same thing that John said, that the winds may pick up after midnight. I'm here to tell you that they're starting to pick up again right now, and it's nowhere near midnight yet. It's going to be a long, hot night for the firefighters if those winds continue to pick up the way they appear to be picking up now. A lot of homes up here are in very, very grave danger right now.
Are people being allowed into the areas where the fire has already burned through?
Yeah, they are to a degree, although
I mean,
there goes an Oceanside police officer right behind me. They're trying to keep what you might call the looky-loos out. People who live in here are being allowed in to a degree, but the problem is not so much that they're being allowed in, is that the police and fire spread so thin there's nobody really around to keep them out because they're having to race to areas where there are hotter fires burning.
I'm sure that's a priority as well. And
It
again, a reminder that there are evacuation centers set up at San Marcos High and San Dieguito High School and Rancho Santa Fe Middle School. And another reminder that San Marcos High School and La Costa Meadows Elementary Schools will be closed tomorrow. We got that word from the superintendent of schools up there. Again, we will be keeping track of the fires and the firefighters as they attempt to get a circle around the biggest fire in San Diego County right now, the one that Doug is at Romeo Cantu. Nearly 5,000 acres have burned since 2 o'clock, and of course, so far, again, only one injury. And before this newscast is over tonight, we will definitely be updating you on the status of all of the fires that we know of in the county, whether they're burning out of control or out. I know how important that is to some of you before you attempt to go to sleep. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping an eye on things here, and we will get back to you as soon as we have something new. Brian?
Okay, thank you very much, Kathy. Again, the Valley Center fire, the brush fire that's taking place there, firefighters are responding to that, and KUSI has a crew on its way there to update you on that particular fire also. Now, as I say, we're going to be switching gears throughout this newscast and going back and forth to update you. There are other news, obviously, not as important as this particular piece of news, but there are other things going on. Now, Fred's here with a little preview of what's coming up in entertainment tonight. Fred?
And while I'm here, they are
in between these that are just fine.
We'll see if we can pull back here. I mean, it's really hard to tell through the night, but there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4 lots that you're looking at right now, and there are homes kind of in the middle here scattered about that have not been touched, but you'll see emergency crews down there trying to prevent any flames and any ash from spreading. The shake shingle roof, Leonard's been talking a lot about tonight, has been one of the major hazards here of this fire. Carol, Kim, I'm told to toss back to you right now, so we're going to go back to you.
All right, Andrea, just terrible, terrible destruction.
We have Leonard Villarreal now also on the ground in that same area where Andrea is probably virtually right up above you right now. Leonard, what can you see?
Well, somewhere nearby, we are again in La Costa at Cadencia and Borla Drive. This is an area where the battle has been fought and has been won. There are still swirls of wind carrying smoke and some embers, but for the most part, the 8 or 10 homes in this area that were raging with flames have been put out, and there's still a lot of smoke in the area. People here put up a fight. Joe Rosado is one of these people who came in to help his parents save their home.
Yes, I came over from San Marcos to help out. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't there, and my neighbors were already there, helped putting out the fires on the back of the fence area. Thank God for that. Mr. and Mrs. Kathy John and Mr. Lake, and it was a scary feeling back there because you got the fire coming right up to the back of the fence, burning everything up. You're thinking it's just catching on to the roof. You're going to lose all your stuff in the house, so you're either fighting it, try to stop it, or if it takes over, you just lost everything. So I had a choice to make, either keep staying there and helping out the neighborhood, put the fire out, or take your stuff and leave. So the whole street did a good job on praying and helping each other out and letting people know what was going on. And luckily we got the fire out in the back of the houses that back up behind the fence on behind the field right there, all burnt up. The whole field caught up, all the houses on the ends caught up, fences, backyards, patio tables, and tarps that go over, cover the patio tables, all that stuff charred.